The woman who says a Hollywood acting coach sexually assaulted her when she was only 13 years old. And for years afterwards, she kept that painful secret. But tonight, we'll see what happened when she finally went to police, beginning a mission to put him behind bars. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
Who's there?
They're right there. They're coming out. They're coming out. They're coming out.
The man being escorted away by cops is being arrested for sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl. His name, Cameron Thor.
Look at that creepy.
Is he in handcuffs?
Oh my God, Jordy.
Is
yes, sure as hell is.
The voice of the woman on the tape is his teenage victim and her father, videotaping from across the street.
What a creepy piece of.
The suspect played bit parts in Hollywood blockbusters like Jurassic Park.
That's 1.5 million if you get all 15 species off the island.
He's also known around Hollywood as a high-profile acting coach. But in June of last year, he was charged with 13 counts, including kidnapping, lewd acts on a child, and sexual penetration. He pled not guilty to all charges. It was here 6 years ago that Jordan says her childhood innocence was shattered. This beautiful remote canyon is where she says Thor sexually assaulted her when she was in the 8th grade.
It doesn't change. It's never going to go away. This is always going to be where he raped me.
Now 20, it took years for Jordan to report the alleged assault to police. But when she did, she was determined to get justice. She worked closely with detectives in a series of attempted sting operations that involved secretly taped audio conversations like this one.
Didn't we go up there with them?
Yeah, we went up and I was trying to correct you.
She says it all started when she was 12, about to turn 13. Her parents fell on hard times.
It was hard. I knew we had no money. My dad would walk 2 miles to bring us a lunch at school every day because he'd have to find money for that day to get us lunch.
On top of that, her mom, Patty, was a struggling alcoholic.
Did you feel like vulnerable at that point?
Yeah, very much so.
In what way?
My parents, they fought a lot. It was kind of just me and Josh. It was just a really scary time for us.
Patty started going to AA meetings held at this local bank. Jordan tagged along for support, and that's where Patty and Jordan say they met Thor for the first time, a flashy Hollywood acting coach who claimed on his now defunct website to have taught big names like Cameron Diaz and Madonna.
What did you initially think of him?
He's very well-spoken, and he comes across very charismatic.
Jordan says he enticed her by saying she could earn money as an actress, offering free lessons, and something far more attractive.
He told me that he would buy my braces because I had a really bad gap in my 2 front teeth, and the one was kind of crooked to the side, and kids aren't nice in middle school, so people are really mean to me about it.
Thor never followed up with that alleged promise.
Was there ever a time when you were suspicious of his motives?
No. I just thought he really liked her and thought she was a great kid and was trying to help her.
Instead of going to a studio, she says Thor insisted they go to his home so that the other students wouldn't find out she was taking his class for free.
We went into his bedroom and he shut the door. He was just really touchy. Every time he had a conversation with me, it was hand on my shoulder, hand on my leg, stuff like that.
Jordan says the lessons continued at his house.
The 3rd time we went upstairs again, he locked the door and he was even creepier, just way more touchy, weird. And before I left, he said I had to give him a hug. He pressed his penis up against me and whispered in my ear, "You make me so hard."
Why not say, I just don't want to do these anymore?
Because I didn't want to tell my parents why.
But then something happened in March 2009 that Jordan says ruined her life. She says Thor picked her up from her home and took her here to this park.
And this is where he talked about really inappropriate things and asked me questions if I'd ever given head before, if I'd ever been eaten out or had sex. And I answered no to all those questions.
She says he then suggested they go for a drive. He turned towards Mulholland and then headed towards Encino Canyon and parked the car.
And then he pulled out a vial of marijuana. He was smoking and he rolled the windows up and had locked the car and had taken my cell phone also.
And then what happened?
He told me to get in the back seat, so I did.
Why did you do it?
So I was terrified.
Jordan says the road was quiet. She didn't see a single car drive by.
There's just a mountain on this side and a cliff on this side, so there's
nowhere
for me to go.
No escape.
He got on top of me and was kissing me. And he took that black and white striped thing that I had on off and was kissing me and leaning over on me and was grabbing me, putting his hands in my shirt, and he undid my pants and put his fingers in my pants.
When she got home, Jordan says she kept quiet about what had allegedly occurred at the canyon.
He told me no one would believe me, And he told me that if I told my parents, my mom would start drinking again.
Jordan, the 8th grader, says she believed the adult. She saw Thor once more after that, but then quit the lessons. A few months later, she finally confided in her older teenage cousin, Carly, who eventually told Jordan's parents. But Jordan was adamant she didn't want to go to police, and her silence lasted for 4 years, until she says she finally worked up the courage to go to the authorities and agreed to be part of those attempted sting operations designed to get Thor to incriminate himself.
They had me text message him and send him like a general, hey, do you remember me type text? And he responded, oh my God, I miss you. I can't believe you contacted me. Of course I remember you.
Eventually, detectives got Jordan to arrange for a meeting with Thor at the Starbucks inside this Barnes & Noble. Detectives bugged the table with a recording device.
What happened in the conversation? Anything?
He mentioned that we could go on the canyon on his motorcycle, and I took that opportunity.
Didn't we go up there one time?
Yeah, we went up and I was trying to corrupt you.
Oh my God, we were high up there, didn't we?
He said we smoked weed. He admitted to that. And then I said, you were really bad and stuff like that. And he like got this weird look on his face, like this smirk.
All right, I gotta go to work. Then let's stay in touch.
Okay.
You have my super private number. You can always text to that number. And we'll just, you and I will always be discreet because we've always been discreet.
But investigators didn't feel they'd gathered enough evidence yet to arrest Thor, so they asked Jordan to call him and prepped her on what to say while they secretly taped the conversation.
They were just like having me ask him things and trying to get him to admit to it. You know, I am legal now, and obviously we had fun back then, so I think we probably have some fun now.
I'd love that.
You know?
I do.
So
I see it clear as a bell.
I can think of a lot of things we would do.
Yeah. I've always had this mad desire to
You have.
yeah, which is a really sort of direct way to put it.
And so what was that conversation like?
Gross. I like sobbed when it was over.
Shortly thereafter, that arrest. Jordan was utterly relieved.
Oh, they got him.
You did it.
The case went to trial. After just 1 day of jury deliberations, Thor was convicted of performing a lewd act on a minor. The other charges were dismissed or not prosecuted. He faces up to 8 years in state prison. In a comment to ABC News, Thor's new attorney, Mark Garagos, said, "We've been retained to overturn the last remaining count against Mr. Thor. We are hopeful that we get relief at the next hearing." Despite the guilty verdict, it's been a difficult process for Jordan.
It's by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, and I would never tell somebody it's easy. I would tell them it's going to be the most challenging thing you've ever had to do, but it's worth it. You have to go from being like a victim to a survivor.
For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in Agoura Hills, California.